Welcome to the week 4 of Atomic Habits. And yes, I know that the volume is not working. We had a power outage and something screwed up all the monitors again.
Yeah, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics. And then every Monday, we go live on Keto on the Couch, where we just kind of talk about what's going on in our lives for the week.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all the different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way, every single time we're having some teeth issues,
yeah, I'm getting off.
You'll be alerted to it. So we are not perfect. We are just real, and we need Joe's denture thing is being repaired and won't be back until tomorrow morning.
The tooth that she had to add to my partial because they had to extract the tooth, they had to redo it because I didn't like it, which means I'm all day without teeth. So I'm getting off because it's annoying me, the fact that I'm missing teeth.
It's hard. Yeah. Oh, thanks for talking about my Figment shirt. Yeah, this is from Anthony. Got a Figment shirt for me. Thank you so much. I love it so much, and I'm excited about tonight.
Okay, here you go.
All right.
Next slide, previous slide.
And I've got Charity. There's my other keto person. So yes, welcome. I am so glad that you're here. I'm glad that you made it, and we're continuing on with this book, Atomic Habits. If you're new here, we're going through this book chapter by chapter and chatting about the ways that we can apply the principles we find in this book into our daily lives and into our keto journey. And this week we're going to discuss the section that begins on page 139 in my book. At least that's where it is in my book. And that is the third law, which is make it easy. Is everything okay?
Yes, I'm trying to fix that.
The audible plug. Oh, okay, awesome. All right. So let me know in the chat what you thought about the photography class mentioned in the first chapter of this section. Were you surprised that the quantity group produced all of the best photos? You probably have heard the old adage, quality over quantity. I've heard that used to describe a restaurant or certain skin cream. Hey, there's not a lot of it, whatever it is, but the quality is so high, it's still the most desirable option. But when it comes to developing as a photographer, see what I did there? It looks like the most effective form of learning is practice, not planning. Practice, not planning. And I would have to agree with that if you're hoping to develop as a parent as well. A one time of a year, big money trip to Disney may be a high quality family excursion, but if you're trying to build communication with your kids, that's not the way to do it. Quantity is key. It's the dozens of conversations with that you have with your kids every single day that builds trust between you as a family. And quantity has inspired our June challenge. Are you guys all ready to find out what is our June challenge? It's the first of its kind for us, and we're actually going to be having what we call a repetition challenge, and we're calling it Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my. It's the Oh My June Challenge. Now, when you hear lions and tigers and bears, whether you are 7 or 70, you're probably saying something. Go ahead and say it in the chat. When you hear lions and tigers and bears, what is the next response? It's oh my, right? It's automatic. Why? Because it's a famous line from The Wizard of Oz, and we have heard it so many times. It's been repeated so many times that it doesn't feel weird to say it anymore. And that's what we want when we are establishing new habits, right? We want them to stop feeling strange. Oh, let me go back. Boop. We want them to just be what we do. That's what we are hoping for. Plain and simple. That requires us to do the same thing over and over again. So for June, I challenge you to pick a habit that you want to make automatic. You've got 30 days to do it across the month. For me, I want to get up every morning and put my socks and sneakers on. That's it. That is my June challenge. Now, I can't see you, but I bet that your face is not dazzled by my news. We're going to be talking today about why this easy to repeat task is my focus for the month. But spoiler alert, on days when I have my socks and sneakers on, I am more likely to go for an actual walk. And when I go for a walk, I tend to go ahead and get my steps in. And when I am attempting to get my steps in, I tend to walk about 5 miles. And when I walk about 5 miles, I walk about 150 miles in a 30-day month. 150 miles in a month is a lot to wrap my mind around. And we're going to discuss today how our minds don't like that. Do not like that. So my challenge for this month is super specific and it is super doable. Rachel, wake up and put your socks and your sneakers on. Now, we've never settled for less than a B when it came to our kids' grades. So we're not settling for less than that in this challenge. We're gonna have lions and tigers and bears, oh my. So if you want to be on Team Lion, the first award-winning member of this challenge, you have to perform your goal behavior at least 80% of the time across your month. That's a B. 80% is going to get you a B. So for me, that means I have to put my socks and sneakers on first things 24 out of the 30 days in June. That would be 80% compliance. If I want to take it up a notch and land on Team Tiger, then I have to perform the behavior at least 90% of the time. That's an A. That would mean putting on my socks, I want to say snocks so bad, snocks and sneakers. My snocks and sneakers on first thing 27 out of 30 days. Finally, the first place award, we're going to call them Team Bear, is striving for 100%, but we know that we may not land on 100%. We're going to be content with 99% because nobody is perfect, but 99% is still an A+. And if I want to end June on Team Bear, then I've got to put my socks and sneakers on first thing in the morning for 29 out of the 30 days. I believe that I can do this. I talked to my mom, Sarah, who's in the chat right now, and ask her what is her challenge going to be. And her challenge this month is to eat all of her meals for the month of June sitting down at a table. She is a grazer from way back. She's had trouble not keeping track of any food that she eats standing up in the kitchen. So she's got 3 meals a day for 30 days to eat sitting down. That's the challenge. It's 90 meals. That would be 90 meals for her if she eats 3 meals a day. If she eats 72 of her month's meals sitting down, she's going to qualify for Team Lion. That's 80%. If she eats 81 of her meals sitting down, she qualifies for Team Tiger. That would be 90%. And if she manages to eat 89 of her meals sitting at the table, she's going to qualify to be Team Bear. Does that make sense? This challenge is all about repetition, and I can't wait to see what behavior that you decide to make repetitive this month. Let me know in the chat if you already have an idea of what you're going to be doing. So let's go ahead and check in with the chat, see what you guys are doing. You guys are greetings from Wales. Oop, can I click on it? There we go. Did it go up? It's not going up. I see Paul says greetings for Wales. Hello, Paul. How are you? All right. For whatever reason, my thing's not showing up, but we'll go ahead and see if there's anybody else that's talking. Jen said ear hustling while cooking dinner, bacon wrapped chicken and Brussels sprouts. That sounds delicious. I'm coming to your house, Jen. Joanna says, I thought my earbud was acting up. Good to know that it's not me. Okay, are you gonna help me out? Let's see if we can click on Deborah.
What are you trying to do?
Go ahead and put it up here. Am I just like, there it goes. And then I click it on it again to make it go away, right? Mm-hmm. Boop. All right, awesome. All right, so Deborah said, makes perfect sense. Less is more. Yes, it does. I mean, here's the thing. this is usually, and we're going to be getting into motivation, right? That motivation is the key. We set our sights on very big, gigantic goals, right? So here is the current Women's World magazine. This is what is staring at me when I go to the checkout. And look what this is saying. Lose 49 pounds by July 4th. That is how I used to set my goals. Absolutely. By July 4th, so like on the other side of this month, I should have lost 49 pounds. And to add insult to injury, this person, so I'm 45 years old, I'm going to be turning 46 this year, and I have never in my life lost 49 pounds in a month. I have lost more than 100 pounds, but I've never done it in a single month. And this person says, I lost rapidly even at age 64. So what this person is saying is that, or this magazine is claiming, is that this person can do things I cannot do. And then another thing down here that really upset me, Foolproof Swap breaks your craving cycle to make weight loss completely effortless. I have never experienced effortless weight loss. So this is how I used to set up my monthly challenges for myself, and we're not doing that. My monthly challenge may not make the cover of a magazine. Rachel, put your shoes and socks on. But guess what? I am going to wind up on the other end of this June challenge successful, and I'm not holding myself to an unreasonable standard anymore, if that makes sense. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Lillian says, I think in a lot of cases, quantity is king, but sometimes it's the reverse, like with your anesthesiologist. Absolutely. Don't give me like the most, right? Sometimes more is just more. So Deborah says, that is a habit of mine now. Gets my brain tricked into thinking I'm going to do something. Jackie says, I'll have to figure out something that can travel since my vacation is from the 11th to the 20th at least. Jackie, if you've got a challenge like get up and put your shoes and socks on, I'm thankful that like we could do that anywhere, right? If that is my challenge, I can do that. If sitting down is a challenge, like, hey, if I eat, I have to be sitting down to do it. I can't be standing up in the kitchen. That's something that I can do whether I'm in a hotel, a restaurant, a workplace that just has like an office desk. That's completely doable, right? So, okay, I've got to remember. Yeah, I did it. Okay, let's see what's next. Here we go. Boop. Okay, so here is our next thought. Focus on taking action, not being in motion. The best is the enemy of good. I love that quote so much. James is reading my mail with this section because I am at heart a researcher. I love to investigate. I don't know if I'm the only person out there. Do you love to research stuff? I love to do research, right? So I spent a decade as a journalist. That's what I did previously. And I was basically paid to be a chatty spectator. I could write about a gymnast who was preparing for the Olympics. I actually did cover some of the Olympics going on in Atlanta. I could learn their exercise routine, become familiar with some of the lingo associated with the sport, know about the various equipment. I could even learn about what the judges were looking for during scoring. But then I would turn my article in without breaking a sweat. I am not a gymnast because I know so much about it. And I think that that will speak into our keto journey as well. Are you taking action or are you still just in motion? Do you spend 7 days a week studying keto, but only 5 days a week eating keto? Do you study all the possible ways that a fitness movement could be altered for you, but then you still don't actually move? Talking to a personal trainer will not get us in shape. Talking about beef, butter, bacon, and eggs will not produce body recomposition. You have to eat it over and over again every day until you reach your desired outcome. Does that make sense? Okay, so we see, habit formation is the process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. And I love this thought. The amount of time you have been performing a habit is not as important as the number of times that you have performed it. This is going to be uncomfortable for somebody to hear, but this is a safe place to hear it. I'm a safe person to hear it from because I love you. You know that I love you. Some people have been in the planning stages of keto for years, but not having results because they're not actually practicing it. If you want results, it's not who you know, it's what you do. Right? We can be friends without you being keto, but you can't experience results unless you are actually eating keto every single day. I've proven that I can have a gym membership and stay the same. I have managed to have a gym membership and stay completely the same. It's not paying the membership dues that change my body. It's lifting the weights every single day. It's not my new walking shoes that make me a walker. It's putting them on and then getting the miles in. We need to make it easier for our brain to process this habit. And a good way to do this is to be decisive in our actions. I don't make my brain ask the question, am I keto today? That question has been settled. The answer is yes and forever. And because it's no longer a daily fork in the road, I don't have to spend any energy choosing a path. Does that make sense? Once I decided I am keto for life, trigger foods mysteriously started to lose their hold on me. And months of eating nothing but keto also meant months and months of not eating non-keto. My brain is very fuel efficient. It stopped noticing problem foods in the store that I used to eat because I've told it with my repeated actions that those are not for me. So let me go ahead and check in with the chat and see what you guys are saying, if you guys have anything to share. Oh, Mom says, I also plan to walk at least 30 minutes a day. No miles, just 30 minutes. Wherever I go will count. That is fantastic. I would so much rather you say, I'm going for a walk every single day, and that's the completion of that sentence, than to set out a goal that like, I'm gonna walk 10 miles a day. And then on week 3, or day 3 rather, when you don't walk 10 miles on that day, that you're like, well, I guess I failed. I'm out of the competition. And now I'm gonna go back to not walking at all. Does that make sense? We're doing very specific, doable things. Let's see. Scott says, I want to get up at 6:30 every day. It's summer for the kids and my teacher wife. I want to keep my early riser habit from the school year. That is so fantastic. You're going to fill the summer months with different things than the work and the routine that you're used to during the school year, but that's so brilliant, right? A lot of times I think that, and I'm super guilty of this over the years, I can remember losing a summer. Like, where did the summer go? It just passed by and we didn't get to do the things we wanted to do. It was because I treated myself and the kids with no time of waking up. So it was like, well, whenever we wake up, we wake up. And it's good to get rest in, but this plan that you have, like we're getting up at 6:30 every morning, it's okay if you take a nap at noon, or it's okay if you go to the beach, but like that is a great and doable plan. And it will be as easy to achieve as setting an alarm, right? That is not involved in like you having the motivation every day to do it. You can actually rely on a device to make it happen for you. That's super doable. I love it. Okay, so moving on, we find out that human behavior follows the law of least effort. We will naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work. I love this quote from James because it's so absolutely true. Conventional wisdom holds that motivation, like something like this, is the key to habit change. Maybe if you really wanted it, like this woman wants it, you'd actually do it. But the truth is, our real motivation is to be lazy and do what is convenient. What my real plan for fitness, when I incorporate this is my fitness plan. I'm going to purchase this magazine. I am going to put it inside of my car. I'm going to take it home and maybe read it on the toilet, and that's where it ends. until I pick it up or notice it again in July and like, oh wow, this woman completed her goal and I didn't complete my goal. If you're like me and you've wanted to change in the past and failed, I hope that this blesses you like it blessed me. It's not that we don't want to change badly enough. It's that we need to do what? Create an environment where doing the right thing is as easy as possible. Share in the comments with me, what are you gonna do to make doing the right thing as easy as possible? Kelly says, going to add gratitude list to my morning prayer time. I need to be more thankful for my blessings. That is such a beautiful thing to do. And if you are, as a side note, trying to stay positive, I'm constantly fighting for my positivity. And there's so many things like, it was very easy for me and Joe to be upset by the fact that he had to take his teeth out and he's like missing a tooth. Like there's so much, it's glaring. It is so much bigger and more apparent. A tooth is missing. And that's where our focus can be on the negative. So when you're doing this and you're adding gratitude, you are naturally going to put yourself in a more, positive state. So I think that's really brilliant. Becca says, my challenge is that I will document all my food for 30 days. That will help me keep accountable for eating beef, butter, bacon, egg, and keto chow. Yes, that is absolutely awesome. And my thing would be, and I don't know if you have the same problem that I do, I love paper planners, and don't tell Joe. He's not here, so don't tell him. But sometimes when I write things down in a journal, I'll like misplace the journal and be like, oh man, can I continue my list without the journal? So sometimes it helps me to do the journaling on the notes section of my phone because y'all know that's always with me. So again, don't tell Joe. He'll be all on me about paper planners, but that's kind of a hack I'm doing too. Sarah said, my mom says, all of the magazines have keto advice. Not real, but telling everyone it's so easy and you will have pounds just slide off. You got this. Yes. I mean, we've lived keto, right? Have you seen Joe and I lose 49 pounds in a month, even on the beef, butter, bacon, and egg challenge? No, we have not. No, we have not done that. Was it easy to make good decisions like throughout? You've seen us over the last 4 years. No, it has not been easy. So if somebody says the weight is just gonna fall off, like just 100-pound bag, just right off your body, that is not true. And the other thing is it gonna be super, super easy? No, it is not easy. It isn't, but it is doable. And that is what we needed. Not necessarily easy, but doable. Deborah was sharing, I love to research and discover. It's how I got here. I'm so glad that you got here by researching and finding us because we're just so thankful that you're here, Deborah. Paul says, there was a line in the book here that talked about us not starting/taking action because we are thinking that we're delaying failure. That description of our innate inertia really spoke to me. It spoke to me too, Paul. It really spoke to me because I thought, gosh, I bet that's a big reason why I enjoy the planning side more than the doing side. Because I think that the longer I plan, like, wait a minute, if I just collect a little bit more data, if I just collect a little bit more proof, then I will feel like I am my best self moving forward to actually do it. But I have used that as an excuse many times to delay actually getting started. Jen says, amen, Rachel. I have so much workout gear, but it doesn't mean I was using it. Same here. I have super like activewear, like there's a song, activewear. And I'm like, that's me. I would buy activewear and never be active. I just really like the convenience and feel of activewear. That's what I liked. So yeah, that doesn't mean that I'm actually utilizing it. I'm glad that I'm not the only person. Thank you for sharing that, Jen. Lois says, I want to kick my Diet Coke habit and wean myself off so that I'm only drinking water by the end of June. That is such a wonderful goal, Lois. And definitely I recommend the Dr. Berry hack of starting out with like keep your Diet Coke and then but have half of a Diet Coke in your drink, and then fill the rest of it with a sparkling water or like Topicino or something like that, so that you're getting all the carbonation and bubbles, but like you're slowly over time, weaning yourself off the Diet Coke. So even if you don't do half and half, but you start 3/4 and then a fourth of the Topicino, and you like just wean yourself off of it that way. I think that's a really awesome recommendation that Dr. Barry and Nisha came up with. Penny says, I cannot remember how many books I bought to read by the end of summer. I added this one to the list. I'm so glad that you are going to be reading this book or any book. I think that that's such a beautiful thing. And there is a real feeling of accomplishment when you finish a book, right? It's just, you feel really good about yourself. And I love that what he talks about in the book is don't plan on finishing a book, a week. Plan on reading a page a day. If you read more, fantastic. But all you need to do is read a page a day. That becomes very doable, and you don't, feel bad about yourself moving forward. All right, so let's see where we're at. Okay, so we can create an environment where doing the right thing is as easy as possible. So we can do that when we reduce the friction associated with good behaviors. When friction is low, habits are easy. And at the same time, we can increase the friction associated with bad behaviors. When friction is high, habits are difficult. As we are establishing new behaviors and trying to ditch the old ones, let's take a minute to survey our friction levels. I have jokingly talked about a step machine that I had years ago that I never used. I used to hang my blouses on it, like the more like permanent press blouses. I would hang it on a hanger in order for them to dry on that machine. Why didn't I use the machine more? It wasn't because I didn't want to exercise badly enough. It's because every time that I wanted to use it, I had to clean it off first. The exercise equipment was covered in stuff, but the couch that I had in that same room was clear. So my brain rightly discerned that it's easier to just sit down. By the same token, I've seen laziness work in my favor when it comes to getting my walks in. All I have to do is make sure that my shoes and socks are on, and it is very easy for me to just go out the door. Even when I have other things to do, like chores, I still tend to get a walk in because my chores have multiple steps. Like I gotta go get the laundry, move it over from the washer to the dryer, bring the stuff in the dryer in and fold it. That's multiple steps, right? While the walk only requires me to do one step. Walk out the door. It's more steps if I haven't already got my shoes on, but now that I'm going to have my shoes on every morning, one step, walk out the door. My brain says, do the one step thing. So let's see, how can we prime our environment to make future actions easier? I love the idea of resetting a room. Instead of surrendering an entire day of the week to cleaning your house, it's so much smarter to just keep up with the room that you're in, one room at a time. What about your plans to make your next meal keto? Is the skillet on the stove? Is the butter in the butter dish? And is your protein thawing in the fridge already? Will it be easy for you to grab your gym bag and walk out the door tomorrow morning? Are there socks in that gym bag that are clean? Is there a water bottle and workout clothes in there already? Or are you going to have to go and find them and get them out for tomorrow? Let's see what you are saying in the chat about priming your environment to make future actions easier. And I'd also like to see what you're doing to make undesirable habits harder, because I really like the idea of maybe even putting the phone in another room when I don't want to be distracted by it. Let's see what you guys are saying. Oh, that was Penny. Let's see. Penny says, stack the books on the coffee table, unread on the left and read on the right. It's right there. I don't have to make any decisions. The next one that I'm reading is right there. I loved last week, we were reading through the section where he shared that if you want to read every single day, when you make your bed in the morning, like maybe I like to make my bed. Joe's not a bed maker, but I do like to make the bed when I get up. It makes me feel nice and fresh and clean. And just put the book you want to read on your pillow. Now you're not hunting for anything. When it's time to go to bed, the book to read is already there. I love that. There you go. Betsy says, I'm not going to journal a certain amount, but just journal. That's great. Yes, that is the only action that you have to take. By the end of the day, even if you're like, gosh, it's only 10 minutes before bed, I said I was going to journal. And all you do is open up your journal and say, I'm really thankful that I lived through this day. That's it. That's all I have time for. I'm going to go to bed now. But you know what? You still did it, Betsy. That's such a wonderful thing. Kelly says, going to place colored pins with my daily calendar, making my thankful list pretty and colored, easy to see. Yes, absolutely. We need to highlight those things that are positive. That is awesome. Oh, Christy says, I'm so glad that I didn't miss the live stream completely. We're so glad you're here, Christy. Thanks for being here. Pat says, I heard the other day that PhD is simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. So true. It takes planning. Yes. Now we can make those plans easy, right? It takes planning. We can make those plans as easy as we possibly want. We don't need to make super fancy dishes like we see on Instagram or Facebook. It is awesome if we were talking last night at dinner with some friends over those special tacos that Anthony made in a recent video, like not too long ago. It took him 10 hours to prepare that meal. Was it delicious? Absolutely. Do I have 10 hours to prepare food for my family tonight? No, I do not. So it can be easy. You just have to have ingredients. It can be as easy as I have a hot dog and an air fryer. And in 3 minutes, I've got dinner and it is a keto dinner. I love that. Mad Vito said, I'm going to brush my teeth and my very first trip to the bathroom in the morning. Brushing my teeth indicates to me that I'm ready to face the world. That is so stinking true. Do you know that something that I do, because I would have a little bit of trouble getting up in the morning, sometimes even coffee wouldn't help, and I have replaced the snooze button. Y'all know that Joe cannot take that snooze button. So I've tried to be a good partner and avoid the snooze button. I get right up, and something that helps me in that same vein is I put makeup on. If I wash my face and put some makeup on, I feel like I'm ready to face the world, right? But if I stay with like crusties in my eyes and I don't even brush my hair, then I feel like I'm not ready to wake up and I can stay in bed for longer. Christy said, I like the habit of brushing when you finish dinner to keep me from being tempted to snack at night. I've been doing that the last few days. Super helpful. Yes. If you're somebody, obviously, Christy, you're like me. And if I brush my teeth, that is the completion of the eating, because no matter what, I have a very gross association with toothpaste and food. I just have had too many of those like toothpaste, orange juice kind of situations from my childhood that I do not want to eat after I've brushed my teeth. So it's great. Blue Dove, back from the cruise. Hope you guys had a great time. Says, I'm trying to help the family to eat keto for this summer. I'm going to resolve to food prep daily so that we always have healthy food ready to go. And that is so brilliant. And also, if your family can go and like heat up stuff on their own, right? Why not have meat cookies, hot dogs, like some sort of like, cauliflower potato salad wannabe like in there, so that they don't have to like go and hunt for a bunch of stuff. It's right there. It would be so much easier for me to just reheat up the hamburgers that you have made or a keto lasagna that you have prepared than for me to go into a pantry and go make something from a scratch perspective, right? Because this stuff is ready to go. Mom says, I love settling reasonable goals. And then I feel successful and want to continue doing the right thing. So I get a reward while I'm creating a new habit. Yes, I think that we both like our blue dot, right? Paul says, so true. It's about the power of small choices. To climb a mountain, it's less about the path you choose. As long as each step is up, you'll reach the summit. That's right. That is such a powerful, powerful statement, Paul. All right, let's see what is next. All right, so habits can be completed in a few seconds, but continue to impact your behavior for minutes or hours afterward. Habits are the entrance ramp to a highway. Isn't that the truth? As soon as I open Pinterest, this is maybe nobody else like experiences a rabbit hole with Pinterest like I do, but I might as well shout road trip as soon as I open up that app, because I have never just checked Pinterest for a second. For me, Pinterest is at least an hour-long excursion. Obviously, if I have better things to do, I want to avoid that Pinterest app and probably just go ahead and disconnect it, just delete it from my apps, so that if I do want to visit it again, when I have time and I'm ready to visit it, I have to reload it onto my phone and go through the process of doing the login and the password, and I'm just making it a little bit harder for me to use it on the regular. I love that. So I need to take a look at what happens right before I open Pinterest. That's what I want to know. What is motivating me to open Pinterest when I know I have a problem with it? Many habits occur at decisive moments, choices that are like a fork in a road, and either they send you in the direction of a productive day or an unproductive one. Let me know in the chat, what are some decisive moments in your day that you're already aware of? Maybe there's a time of day that can be problematic to you. Maybe it's that moment when you decide where you're going to eat for lunch, right? Maybe you know that when you have to check in with a coworker or a family member, the stress of it sends your day in an unproductive direction. What are some of your forks in the road? Let me know. There are definitely times of day. I would say that it probably began after trying to help my children with their homework. So usually around 4:30, 5 o'clock, that has always been a problematic time of day with me, because I was always trying to balance, mommy loves you, but I need you to do your homework. Like, why are we continuing to have this argument over doing homework? Don't you know mommy's already graduated from high school and college? This homework is not for mommy's benefit. I love you and I just want you to do your homework. But after that negative interaction, be like 4:30, 5 o'clock, I would go to the kitchen after that like situation. So that it continues. My children are grown now, and yet 4:30, 5 o'clock is still a temptation time for me. So while you're sharing, let's quickly resolve the 2-minute rule. I love this. The 2-minute rule states, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. So that's not an hour at the gym. Your new habit if you're doing a 2-minute habit and you're like, hey, I'd like to start exercising, you planning to like go to the gym for an hour to 2 hours a day, that's not the habit, because that's not going to fit in 2 minutes. An hour is 60 minutes. So you got to start a habit that's only 2 minutes. Let's stop trying to run on enthusiasm. I know nobody is going to hold a pep rally for my new habit of fold one pair of socks. It sounds like a waste of confetti if I'm saying to myself, hey, my laundry goal is fold one pair of socks. But folding one pair of socks is my foot in the door to keeping up with my laundry. I'm going to get my walking in for June, because my new exciting habit is going to be put your shoes and socks on, as soon as you get up in the morning, and that's going to involve me putting my shoes and socks beside the bed before I go to sleep. Right? So let me check in and see what you guys are saying. Maybe you've got some 2-minute habits that you've already got in mind. Jen says, I've been using my focus and do not disturb settings on my phone during work and sleep. Yes. How is anybody, I've noticed that more people in my life are starting to, they'll text me, but then I will see the message underneath it says that they have their notifications on like silent, or they're away from their phone and, will answer you later. Whether I can answer the person back immediately or not, if you put up that boundary, then nobody's mad at you. It's when I think that you're constantly available and I'm used to you always answering me immediately, and there's no new fence line like Jen is using, the do not disturb setting, that I don't know you're trying to change. I love Jen. I want Jen to be successful. And in order for her to be successful, the times when she's trying to work on a new behavior, she doesn't need me burning up her phone. So when she puts those do not disturb settings up, even when I text her or a loved one or a coworker text her, then they're not expecting an immediate reply. If they get an immediate reply, it's bonus, but we're not expecting it anymore. I love that. Sarah, I love you, Sarah. She's gonna be journaling, and she says, put my journal on the nightstand and the remote on my desk. That is awesome. She's gonna be super intentional. Her journal is going to be within arm's length. Her clicker to turn the TV on is going to be on the desk away from her bed. So what is she immediately going to be more apt to do in the morning? When you can only reach for something, she's going to reach for her journal, and then she's going to have to make a more concerted effort to reach for her remote control. Whereas in the past, it may have been easier to reach for the remote control and harder for her to get her journaling in. So stinking brilliant. Let's see. Christy says, check out the 2KK videos and recipes online. It really helps me stay on plan. Thank you so much, Christy. Let's see. Penny says, unsubscribe from emails that would potentially waste my time. Yes. If you are somebody like me, then a trigger word for you is the word clearance. If there is a store that sends out an email and we're having a summer clearance, I am more likely to click on that and then lose a bunch of time scrolling through their sales to see, is it actually a sale? Have you seen some of the stores lately where it's like, oh, it's $150 shirt, but it's like $50 or 50% off. And I'm like, I still can't afford that shirt. So like this clearance that you're talking about is not even speaking to me, right? But clearance is a trigger word. So that is brilliant. Penny, I'm gonna follow suit and start unsubscribing from those places that I know they throw the word clearance around just willy-nilly, right? Janice says, I'm going to keep my dining room table cleared off and have my journal and Bible table in the table to do it first thing in the morning. Yes. Don't make it that you're like, okay, the thing that I want to do gets the very last part of my day. You will be tired, you'll be exhausted, you will talk yourself out of it. But if you have your dining room table, you enjoy sitting there, it is beautiful. That my mom sent me a picture of her table that she is going to be sitting at to eat all of her meals. This is a huge deal. We were talking, I said, how long have you been a stand-up eater? And she says, more than 40 years. She is embarking on a 40+ year habit of standing up to eat. I am so stinking proud of my mama. And what she's doing in June is I'm just starting with one meal at a time. Go sit down. Just go sit down and eat it. And that is really pretty awesome. Anthony is here and says, I think our upbringing brings habits without knowing it. I can't sleep with dishes in the sink. Can't leave the house with the bed unmade. P.S. Rachel, love the shirt. Yes, Anthony, I'm cloaked in a hug right now that you gave me. Thank you so much. Yeah, I agree. Sometimes we really get frustrated with our childhood, but sometimes our childhood has brought about good habits. My mom was a vacuumer, and I like to make sure the house is vacuumed, and I'm so glad that that's a habit for me that is like in my brain. Why? Because I have Noah's Ark living here. I have nothing but shedding animals, like the parrot sheds, the chicken shed, the cat shed, the dog sheds. If I wasn't a vacuumer and raised in a vacuuming household, we'd be under fur. That's just the honest truth. Debbie says, I will go on IG to do one thing and find myself scrolling for half an hour several times a day. Wasted time that could be used so much more productively. Yes, I'm telling you. So Instagram is my Pinterest. That is absolutely it. I've got to avoid Pinterest. I've got to make it harder to go on Pinterest. Blue Dove says, when I get home for the day, I have to keep moving. If I sit down and relax, I will nod off and wake up rushing to fix a late dinner. So that is so good. Here's the thing. We know ourselves. We know it. It's okay. There is no shame in saying, I have trouble with Pinterest. Hi, my name is Rachel, and I have trouble saying wins win when it comes to Pinterest. That is all right. It would be better for me to know I have a problem with it and do something about it than act like I don't have a problem and never get any better, right? That's so good. You guys are sharing such powerful things. All right, so let's see. We're gonna work on mastering the habit of showing up. Showing up is what we're trying to master, because the more you ritualize the beginning of a process, the more likely it becomes that you can slip into the state of deep focus that is required to do great things. So I love me some good smelling lotion. Share in the chat if you're like me and you have a particular scented lotion that you really enjoy. As I'm getting into bed every single evening, I like to put on some lotion on my arms like this and my neck, because I like to smell pretty. Does that make sense? I mean, what is pretty? Isn't that visual? But no, I want to smell pretty. You can ask Joe. So my new ritual is going to be to put on lotion, place my shoes and socks by the bed as I'm rubbing it in, because it takes me a minute, because I don't know about you, but I always squeeze out more than I actually need. So I got to rub it really good in. So I'm going to squeeze it in, put it on my arms, and as I'm rubbing it in, which I'm going to do every night, I do it anyway, then I'm going to get my sneakers, I'm going to get my socks and put them beside the bed, and then I'm going to finish rubbing it in and then get into bed. I want this habit to be scented. In the past, exercise really stunk to me. Did exercise stink to you? Because it stunk to me. I had a bad association with it. So now my exercise ritual already smells pleasing to me. It's already a scent that I've chosen. Okay, so we want to standardize before you optimize. You can't improve a habit that doesn't exist. Oh my goodness, that really spoke to me. So you may not get excited with me that my goal this month is to put sneakers and socks on every morning, but every day I'm barefoot or wearing flip-flops, I get way less activity in. That is what I know about me. So putting on my sneakers is huge. I'd rather you do 10 toe touches every day and be able to say, I exercise daily, than have another month go by and tell yourself, I never exercise, or tell yourself that movement just isn't for me. I would rather you just do 10 toe touches and have that win. Okay, so we're gonna move on into the last part of this section, and that is the inversion of the third law of behavior change is make it difficult. What did you think of Victor Hugo's strategy to meet his writing deadline for The Hunchback of Notre Dame? He knew he wouldn't get done what he needed to do at home if he went outside of his house. So he gave his assistant all of his clothes to hide away. He couldn't go out naked with just a shawl covering himself. So if he wanted to go out, he was going to have to contact his assistant. The assistant was going to have to come over and roll their eyes at Hugo. The assistant would have to go to the hiding spot to find the clothes before he could get dressed. There were too many steps, he figured, and since there were just too many steps, it was easier to stay home. He'll just stay home. Boom. We have a literary classic because Hugo made it harder for a bad habit to penetrate his day. He used a simple action of locking away his clothes as a commitment device. And we're going to be talking about commitment devices, but I want to check in once again with the chat and just see if you guys, what you guys are sharing. Christy says, good meat can be really convenient. Eat a large serving of meat with a little veg on the side. Keto can be really easy on enough. Get used to it. You just need to get used to it. You just need to do it repetitively. That's so good. Betsy says, Jen, me too. Do not disturb is great. I tend to feel obligated to answer every single text. Hey, I get you. I get it. That is such a brilliant thing. If you're a people pleaser like me and you are so worried that people will not understand why I'm not immediately answering this phone, those notifications are the perfect help because you're already explaining, hey, I love you. I'm just busy right now. I'm not ignoring you. This is not a personal offense. I am just, doing something else that needs my attention right now. People understand that. Blanche says, a deep need to clean and organize my closet. I've been trying to toss and donate 2 items a week and not replace. Blanche, thank you for showing us that this is doable. And I do say it, hey, I need to minimize my stuff. I need to get rid of a bunch of things. Blanche is making it doable. I need to, within 7 days' time, get rid of 2 things, and I cannot add 1 in. That's doable, right? 2 things. I could probably go and find 2 things in that junk drawer that Joe can't stand in the kitchen, right? 2 things. How about the batteries in that junk drawer that you're confused? Do they work? Are they out? Was this the batteries that I replaced something with? What's going on with these batteries? There's 2 batteries in that drawer I could toss out right now, right? Lillian says, the 2-minute rule isn't a trick. It's taking control of your brain and body with your mind. It's working in collaboration with the way your brain has been created. And that's such a precious thing, right? Instead of being mad at ourselves, let's partner with ourselves, right? We're not trying to hurt ourselves. Work with me, right? I feel like, what was that, Jerry Maguire, where he's like, pleading, help me, help you. I feel like my brain is always saying that, to me. Kelly says, Blanche, that is so awesome. Me too. Getting things out feels so awesome. I love that. And I love that we're seeing like people doing different things, but also we're kind of in the same spaces. I hope that brings joy and peace to people, that we're not alone. We've all got too much stuff we don't need. We probably all are struggling with some of the choices that we're making. So we're getting better together. We're developing new habits together. We don't have to feel bad about that. We're in community, and I'm so thankful for it. Janice says, I do that with lavender lotion. Put the diffuser on with lavender, then spray my bed. Needless to say, I love lavender. So yes, if that is a smell that you enjoy, then partner that. Let the smell of your new habit be the smell that you like already. Becca says, I have a morning ritual that takes up most of the morning between some self-care and live streams. And by afternoon, I'm too tired to do more than just sit at my computer. I need to change that. Yeah, that is, again, we know what our problem areas are. We're doing a little investigation. As we read Atomic Habits, we see the room for improvement, and we can make changes. And we see it's not going to be a giant, hey, I expect you to lose 49 pounds this month or you're not a good person. That is not what we're doing anymore. We're doing small, doable changes that are easy to repeat. Christy says, stress makes me hungry too. I had to limit scrolling for news time to 30 minutes in the morning. I can't get too upset in 30 minutes on YouTube. I spend half the time scrolling. That's so good. Tanya says, ritualizing, that resonates with me with keto. The more I meal prep and stay committed to eating the meats and rationing carbs and sugar, I enter a deeper focus on fat burn and miss the standard American diet less. Yes, it's kind of funny. When you buy a new car, do you notice that car brand? When we got the new Volkswagen that we have, we traded in my car for a more fuel efficient car. Gets like 50 miles to the gallon. I'm loving it. But I noticed Volkswagen everywhere. It was like suddenly everyone owned a Volkswagen. It's because it was on my mind. The more that I am just driving my Volkswagen, this Jetta is not as new to me as it was a month ago. Every day I continue to drive it, I'm less noticing all of the other stuff because it's just a habit now. It's just because it was fresh and new. And once I make it a habit, it changes your focus. All right, so let's see. We're going to go back and talk about a commitment device. A commitment device is a choice you make in the present that locks in better behavior in the future. We talked last week about how I started taking the toll road home from work to avoid stopping at fast food chains. Now, when I get off on the toll road at my exit, it is still possible for me to drive around and look for a fast food place, but now it's out of my way. It is a pain. I might as well go home. And that's really helped me to stay on track. The ultimate way to lock in future behavior is to automate your habits. And we see that one-time choices like buying a better mattress or enrolling in an automatic savings plan are single actions that automate your future habits and deliver increasing returns over time. I want to reduce stress. That's just something that I want to do. Commercials, for whatever reason, stress me out, particularly pharmaceutical commercials. Pharmaceutical commercials that list a bunch of side effects really stress me out, and they're very long. So what we did, because Joe also doesn't like commercials, is we cut the cable and we got YouTube Premium. It was done in a click. One action, boom, no more commercials. It didn't resolve all of my sources of stress, but it did resolve one. Let me know in the chat what's a one-time action that you believe can help lock in a good habit for you. And then our last thought for this week is using technology to automate your habits is the most reliable and effective way to guarantee the right behavior. My phone right here is my personal assistant, right? Like Hugo had like his own personal assistant. This is my personal assistant. It can assist me with escaping work. It can assist me in ordering off-plan food. Why not let it actually assist me in doing the right thing? If I know that I'll be awake no matter what by 10 a.m. each day, why not set an alarm on my phone to ask me, hey, Rachel, are your shoes and sneakers on? Right? Or yeah, socks and sneakers on. If I know that I'm going to take a lunch break tomorrow from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., why not set an alarm to check on my friend at 2:30? I know good and well that it's not going to take me 30 minutes to eat all of my lunch. At 2:30, you can remind me, check on my friend, right? I want to be more intentional in my friendships, and I'm going to use this technology to assist me. All right, let my personal assistant actually assist. If you have a smartwatch that every now and then prompts you to breathe or to stand up, let that be your trigger to stand up and sit down 5 times. That's it, 5 times. When you get that like notification, just stand up and sit down 5 times. You're using this thing that you already have as an assistant to get in new habits that are good. Every time Alexa accidentally goes off or answers the wrong question, and you know she does, we joke about it all of the time, that she listens in on something. I bet I set off somebody's right now. If every time Alexa accidentally goes off or answers the wrong question, I want you to walk from one side of your house to the other side, right? You know she's gonna do it, so might as well use it to your advantage, right? So before we end, we're gonna end on the chat, of course, for Wednesday, June 8th. So next week is gonna be like the Memorial Day weekend. Joe and I are gonna be going out of town, so I won't be able to do the live stream on next Wednesday, but on Wednesday, June 8th, I want us to read the 4th law, make it satisfying. At first, my goal when we started this was to finish this book within the month of May. But I believe it's more important to take our time with this and finish it well. So since next week, Joe and I are going to be camping, I don't want to schedule a live stream for that day, but by June 8th, everyone should have started consistently doing their new 2-minute habit, and then we can meet back here on Wednesday, June 8th to continue discussing this book together. And if you haven't gotten the book yet, I urge you to. We've left a link for the book down below. I think it's really worth reading. I'll let you guys share in the comments if you've purchased the book and you're reading it, do you feel it's worth it? Is it a valuable thing for you, so that other people, don't take my word for it. See what other people are saying. And then you'll have a couple of weeks to catch up in order for us to get to that 4th law. But I think it's more important that we finish well, that we take the time, as a family to discuss this book, rather than being like, well, we said it was going to fit in a month, so like it's got to fit in the month, right? So let's get back into the chat here before we get off. Blue Des says, I'm not dressed was my old go-to excuse to avoid going anywhere or doing anything. Now I am dressed before I leave the bathroom in the morning. It makes such a difference. Thank you. Blue Des, Jamie, I'm so glad that I'm not the only person that has that issue. If I am not dressed, if I leave those pajama pants on, those jokers make me not get things done. I need to change into actual pants if I want to get stuff done. Christy says, some people weigh food, but I eat till I feel satisfied if I'm eating meat, and I limit myself to 1 keto treat a day and I feel much better. That is awesome. Deborah says, I can totally relate to. I am pretty radical with my keto walk. I tape my mouth shut with paper tape when cooking so I don't lick fingers or spoons. Mindless eating. You know what? If that's something that helps you and benefits you, I thank you for sharing it. And you know what works for you. You're trying to make a habit of not tasting. That was a big thing. I remember, Joe and I would cook and it would be like this because we were so used to licking our fingers all the time. Mommy says, recognizing where we have a problem is making a great difference. Yes. Andy says, Rachel, I traded mine into we're not car twins anymore. Oh, but I bet you got a card that you have been hoping for and getting excited about. I hope you got the dream card that you wanted. Jen says, commitment device. I see how companies use this against us. For example, preloading payment methods for Starbucks and fast food, sending targeted emails, one-click buying, etc. Buyer beware. Jen, that is so powerful. Yeah, I think that this book for me, because I'm reading it at the same time you are. It's not that I read it ahead of time and think it's gonna, be helpful. I'm reading it in real time, and I feel like as I'm reading this, I'm thinking about the mayonnaise that got us started doing product reviews. And I think to myself, oh, that's the reason why I'm so fascinated with this company or I keep having a problem in this area. It's because other people are studying how our brain works. If you are a merchandiser for a living, you better know how people's mind works. And yeah, it's not always used in our favor. So why not harness what we're learning about ourselves and use it to our advantage instead of letting it be something that other people use to monopolize us, right? Scott says, my alarm on my phone is an everyday alarm, so I only set it once and it automatically resets for each morning. Yes, that is a great thing to make note of. So I have I get up differently on Sunday morning than I do any other day of the week. So I have a Sunday only alarm, and then there are certain habits that I want to maintain every single day no matter what. And so yes, you just go right into your settings when you're making the alarm and you hit every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday. And this setup, you can set up what you want to do right now, today, and then you're done forever, right? Same thing with your calendar. There are things in the calendar where it's you do repeat it every day, every week. Do you repeat this weekly? And it will set that up for you. So yeah, leverage that technology. Becca says, I have a timer on my computer to make me take a break every 30 minutes. Yes, I believe it was Rita. I don't know, Rita, are you in here? But she had said that every hour she would set her alarm to get movement in at the top of the hour. So when if you have one of those cuckoo clocks, or you have a grandfather clock, and those beautiful dong, dong, that sound goes off, link that to something you want to do. If all it is stand up and sit down 5 times, right? Like, you're going to be doing 10 sets of those. If you're like, have 10 waking hours, that would be 50 squats. That's pretty powerful, right? Betsy says, I use my Alexa to remind me of upcoming events. That's good. That's awesome. So go ahead and let her set timers and reminders for behavior. Paul says, I have an aversion to exercise, so thinking about what I can do to take advantage of my good inner intentions when I have them before the temptation to not do it comes. For example, my unused bike. Yeah. So definitely, like, make it super small. I liked what he said about do like 5 minutes of activity, right? Where he actually had somebody and they went to the gym, and you figure you got dressed, you drove to the gym, you worked out for 5 minutes, and then got off and got back. Because again, you're just establishing the habit. So maybe you can say, like, hey, I have a bicycle every single day. I need to ride around the block. That's not like I'm going to become a long distance bike rider, but no long distance bike rider becomes a long distance bike rider unless they first start their rides around the block and start small. That's awesome. Let's see. Paul says, yes, it's a great book, really profound and eye-opening. Synergy says, my book has lots of highlighting in it. I read with the highlighter in my hand. I felt like that was true for me too, that, there's some books that you're like, okay, I'll just write my thoughts at the end, but this one is definitely one that I'm like just underlining the whole way through. Tiny says, when I was in the office, anytime I went and got coffee or heated up food, I would do squats or lunges in the break room. You would be surprised how quickly you can fatigue a muscle or at least feel it. You are absolutely right. I love Nurse Cindy. She does that thing in the bathroom that she just, like, every single time she's done, she uses the restroom, and then she gets dressed, and then she just does 5 stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down every time she goes to the bathroom. I mean, can you imagine how many squats I would get in if I do that every single time I use the restroom? Me too. At first, I was worried about messing up my book, but it's my book, right? I can underline and highlight and put stars. Yes, that is so stinking true. I love that. Christy says, psychologists make a fortune working with marketing companies. I think it is interesting, but I could never do that job because I feel like it is unethical to essentially trick people into buying. So I love that, James has learned the same things that, people have learned about us, and maybe they've used it in a manipulating way, but I'm so glad that he used that information in a positive way, right? So Mad Vito says, I use Alexa to remind me to do a simple housework task like I'm reminding you to dust or I'm reminding you to vacuum. I find once I do one of those tasks, I do other tasks. So I'm actually thinking about, I'm starting to use my phone alarms more. And I think that's the best policy for me because it's with me no matter what. But I got to tell you, I'm very intrigued about purchasing the Alexa voice that is Samuel L. Jackson, because I feel like if Samuel L. Jackson is telling me to like dust, apparently you can like use different voices. I mean, if he tells me like it's time to do my chore, like I just think it'll be more fun, right? Like I set my GPS in the car to a fun voice because I just think that makes getting to the destination funner. So, yes, Blue Dove says, Papa Squats, absolutely. Nancy says, love you, Rachel. I love you guys too. Thanks so much for sharing this time with me. Let me go back to the previous slide that's just telling us, just a reminder for Wednesday, June 8th, please read The Fourth Law, Make It Satisfying. I think my beautiful, handsome husband
with no teeth,
with most of his teeth, most of them. There's only one glaringly missing, but the rest of them are there. So we're super thankful for that, right?
You all done?
I'm all done.
Good.
Yes.
Proud
Thank the
of you.
Lord. Thank you guys so much for sharing this time with us. We will have our weekly live stream tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern.
Coming from Orlando.
We'll be coming for Orlando. We're going back for the day in Orlando. So looking forward to that and getting to see you and chat with you with no reading required for tomorrow night.
Have a good night.
We love you guys.
Bye.